Welcome, my 199 subscribers, everyone who hasn't given up on AEW yet, and everyone who watches the show more for the drama than for the actual show. Welcome to my review of AEW Dynamite for the October 5th show. Let's begin. But before we actually begin, I'm going to talk about the backstage fight that overshadowed the entire anniversary show that happened, apparently. So apparently Sammy Guevara and Andrade El Idolo had a fight backstage, and there have been conflicting stories. Some say Sammy started the fight, some say Andrade started it. We don't know, we'll never know. But for me, if Andrade started it, if he's doing all of this to poison the locker room, to get fired or whatever, I understand keeping a wrestler, like having conditions, not giving him to the competition, but he's doing more damage to your company. And if you ever put him on TV again, his heart and soul won't be in it. He won't be 100% in his programs, so why not just put some conditions in, have a non-compete for companies in the US, but allow him to sign for New Japan or Mexico, like any of the companies there. Don't waste this man's life like you already pretty much did, since life is short and there's only one of it. So yeah, and if Sammy Guevara started it, this is his second strike. I don't care if he's a pillar. I don't care if he's one of the people who started the company with you. He needs to change it up or fuck off. Your company's already in a fucked up situation PR-wise and morale-wise. This shit isn't gonna help. The locker room leaders have been trying to pick up the pieces from the CM Punk situation, and here you are doing this. And another thing, perception is everything. Even if Sammy didn't start it, even if Andrade is purposely sabotaging the locker room, so that when he gets back to Papa H, AEW will be in a far worse situation, Sammy really can't be associated with these situations. He needs to cool down for a year or two. Because PR-wise, it's already not the best for Sammy. Especially the thing with his fiancée, making that so public. His fight with Eddie Kingston, and now this thing with Andrade. It's people are already predisposed to hate him. That even if he's innocent in all of this, people are just gonna hate him just because. It's a no-win situation for Sammy. So yeah, how I would handle it is to just let Andrade work for other companies other than the WWE. Let him wrestle in Mexico or in Japan since they're your allies anyway. And as for Sammy, just fucking deal with him already. Just talk to him, have his friends fucking cool him down. Fucking just fix his career. He's a young dude. He has maybe 20 years left in the business. And if he develops if he develops this reputation, this habit of starting shit backstage, people, either within or outside the guardrail, will never accept him as a future of AEW, a future champion or whatever. He'll always have this go-away heat that I think could ruin his fucking career. Yeah, it's that bad, I think. People are gonna hate him. They're not gonna allow him to turn face. I mean, they're just gonna boo him out of everything. They're gonna not react to stuff. I mean, the AEW crowd is capable of that shit. So yeah, this needs to be addressed. Chris Jericho especially needs to do something about this. This is his boy. He needs to pound this out of Sammy. So yeah, to sum up what I said, let Andrade work for companies other than the WWE. Fix Sammy Guevara. Fix his PR problem, his attitude and stuff. maybe get an HR expert, because socially, it's obvious that Tony Khan isn't the best at that. So yeah, let's get to the actual show. Welcome to my review of AEW Dynamite for the October 5th show. Let's begin. Okay, so the show starts with MJF versus Wheeler Yuta. And I've been critical of Wheeler's in-ring. It didn't seem that exciting to watch, but it's better than a Finn Balor, who just like kicked and sold, and like did his finisher, leaved. And yeah, Wheeler is a lot more versatile than that, but it's just how he does things wasn't very entertaining. MJF also wasn't the best in the ring. The last time, he relied too much on the story that came in with the matches. He's never had like a banger, sort of AEW paced, high speed match. And it's been a long time since I haven't seen him use the salt of the earth submission to finish a match. He always relied on the ring, and it's fucking refreshing to see MJF actually use his finisher. So yeah, this match was fucking awesome. I don't think I've seen Wheeler or MJF wrestle with anyone who they have this much chemistry with. Because yeah, these guys wrestle a banger. They also get a "This is awesome" chant. The crowd were fucking on their feet. This is a relatively smaller crowd than what AEW usually gets. But fuck, they made noise for this one, especially in the spot designed to gain this reaction. This is what you do with an opener. Have it be backed with a story, and have a banger as well. I think this got people into the show. It certainly did with me. They go for some awesome spots as well as some fucking amazing teases. One tease might actually be a spot in the match. They wrestle a moderate to fast-paced match, where even during their downtimes, I felt engaged. MJF always took his time to interact with the crowd. So this part happened in the first 5 minutes. MJF pretty much dominates Wheeler. He interacts with the crowd. Match is slowest at this point. This is where we listen to the commentary more. Apparently, William Regal wants Wheeler facing cheaters, just like MJF, in order to improve him mentally. Because God knows they already beat the shit out of him in kayfabe. And after that part of the match, when Wheeler finally gains some ground, he fucking wrestles like a star. German suplex, skip up, intense facial expression. That would look good on like a star. He was booked like a pillar of the company at this point. If this guy like develops physically on the mic and stuff, I think he can be a feature star. Like Sammy Guevara's replacement as a pillar. But that's still a long ways away. I think he's too small, but he has the face down. We have MJF working on Wheeler's arm. That leads to the ending. Although it doesn't really get sold as anally as I would like. I would have liked if Wheeler sold on offense, but the selling to like the moves that they do were pretty good. Just not the limb work that leads to the end of the match. It's not a Kaito Kiyomiya or a Hangman Page, but Wheeler does pretty good. Just like this Irish whip spot where Wheeler stops it, but it hurts his arm. Just look at him grabbing at the arm. And the match then like elevates gear after MJF like slaps Wheeler around. Wheeler fights back, and then they somehow end up in a position to do like the rapid rolling pins. This spot usually isn't the best. This is like annoying most of the time, but seeing MJF do it is pretty funny. And it doesn't even last a long time. Couple of seconds, and we have like a technical pinning exchange. And there are Chekhov moments here, but one isn't resolved. Maybe next time. But yeah, we have this thing where Wheeler tries to dive, MJF rolls out, but later on in the match, Wheeler finally hits it, and it gets a big fucking pop. Another is like the tombstone teasing. Wheeler counters it, it's countered again, it turns into a pinning battle. And then the spot where they both fall down and then we get the "This is awesome" chant happens. Like the spot spot that's literally for that purpose. And then we get the spot that I talked about. It's the tease spot that gets a spot in the match. MJF teases an avalanche tombstone piledriver, like a move that I don't know how you can protect your opponent from. They hang on to this position for like a couple of seconds, not too short, not too long, and then Wheeler counters it with an avalanche Hurricane Rana, which MJF sells really well. You could say that it's oversold, but this sets up for a fun outside dive. And the way he sells the outside dive is a lot better, because MJF just like falls down like he's out with one arm on the guardrail. This was so fun. And then we get spot of the match. Wheeler tries to dive again, but MJF, before Wheeler dives, rolls enough to be like more than half of the ring away from the turnbuckle. He gives Wheeler the finger, thinking that he's safe, but then Wheeler makes the jump, and the crowd fucking loves it. Loudest pop of the match, near fall, and then the people in the front row are on their feet. And then the finish of the match is Wheeler tries to go for the seatbelt, and when he gets in like the end position of the seatbelt, MJF rolls away. Wheeler is in perfect position for the Salt of the Earth armbar. He converts it, and then he makes Wheeler tap out. MJF wins via submission. So let's get to the spots of the match first. So number 3 is the finish. I love that Wheeler's seat belt fails him, and it's like weak to MJF's finisher. It gets Wheeler in like the perfect position for the Salt of the Earth, and then it costs him the match. Wheeler should look for a new finisher that is MJF proof and is like a more impactful like slam or something, maybe a submission that would suit his style more. Because finishing guys with like the seatbelt, it's like a flash pin. You need something that would like take guys out. Number 2 is the Tombstone tease followed by the Avalanche Hurricane Rana. So the Tombstone tease was awesome in itself, but adding the Hurricane Rana to that brings it up, but it's still not number 1. Because number 1 is like the far dive after MJF flips Wheeler off. Nice storytelling moment, nice Chekhov's gun moment, and it pretty much puts Wheeler over. It makes him look strong in defeat after this like awesome physical feat. So yeah, this match, I really fucking loved it. It's pay-per-view undercard only for me. Like this is my jam right here. Because not only did MJF win, of course he was gonna win, it also like made all the doubters of him, including myself at one point, shut up about his in-ring skills, because he does have it right here. He blends a lot of like entertainer shit with actually like being a show stealer. But I think this helps Wheeler more since he's facing off against MJF, like the most over guy, the biggest draw in the company right now, aside from Jon Moxley. But he's also made to look very, very strong. He does some awesome feats. He is in the upper hand of some awesome spots. And this match really displays how good he is in the ring. So yeah, great performance by these two. I didn't expect this match to be good, honestly. And the finish wasn't dirty. It all was like within the rules, which is more than I can say for a lot of the AEW matches that we've been having recently. So yeah, again, pay-per-view undercard only, really fucking good. It's gonna be hard to top this, but I think I know of like one match that could. So yeah, Dynamite Anniversary opens with a banger. So after the match, we have a post-match segment that fucking complements the match very well. It elevates it even further. Because Wheeler offers the hand to MJF. He tries to shake his hand. It's his former friend. They used to work together back in the Indies. I don't know the specifics. MJF almost shakes his hand. But then the firm come in, and then Stokely Hathaway, I think, effectively plays the devil on MJF's shoulders. Imagine that, the devil on the devil's shoulder. and tries to get MJF to finish off Wheeler. MJF is hesitant the whole time. He doesn't even approve of this attack. Him and Wheeler have history, like I said, but then he puts on the ring, and then William Regal, fucking the legend, shows up with brass knucks. It gets a pop, and then he saves Wheeler's ass. He shows up 1v1 with MJF, ring versus knucks. MJF backs down because he wasn't really 100% invested in this. It doesn't make him look weak. And who knows what William Regal, in real life, went through in his life. Dude probably had fights back in the day. He also is the leader of the toughest faction in the entire company. So if I was MJF and I wasn't exclusively going after a faction, I would walk away as well. Smart boy. So yeah, segment ends like this, and holy shit, I don't know what any other thing can do to top this match and segment. Okay, so after this, we have a hype-up video for the Jericho and Guevara versus Danielson and Garcia match. It's just a video promo. This is my least favorite type of, hype-up. I would prefer promos or, backstage encounters or whatever. And good thing we get it right after this, because JAS cut a promo. So, of course, Chris Jericho does a really good promo. He mentions his motivations. He talks about Garcia. The usual stuff. Sammy Guevara says, a phrase and gets the loudest boos because it's X-Pac heat. But 2.0 make this segment. They cut pretty decent and pretty lengthy promos because they were the original faction with Garcia, I think, before they were recruited into JAS. So yeah, Daddy Magic, nice accent, manages to cut an emotionally effective promo better than Chris Jericho does. He's actually the star of this segment here. And as for Cool Hand Edge, he's not far off. He's finally found his way. He's not as over the top as Daddy Magic, but he has the facial expressions to boot. And as for Jake Hager, he's right where he should be. Says little, but does it in a very entertaining fashion. He's wearing Sammy's hat. He's wearing the hat that Daniel Garcia threw away. He looks funny while doing it. And him emphasizing this hat just takes the cake. So yeah, everyone here does well. Great segment. This could have been longer. That previous video package could have been used for something else, honestly. To extend this or to give to someone else. So yeah, great segment. Didn't like the video package. So after this is the Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal match. This was pretty poorly built, but after the end, it's definitely heading somewhere. It's the start of a story, a pretty basic but interesting story of Jay Lethal's face turn. And I think it's about time. It's about time for Jay Lethal to finally play babyface, have him be the lovable dude who somehow turns into Macho Man again. Or not, you can have him just be Jay Lethal again. And yeah, that's the most likely direction we're going, but we could always get a swerve, and I could always cringe at the finish of this feud. But yeah, we have this very grounded and fair match. Jay Lethal doesn't play heel. He actually tells Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt to stay at the back, and then him and Darby have this very fair, grounded, selling heavy wrestling match. It's Jay Lethal just working and working and working on Darby Allin's left leg for the entire match. Darby Allin never had, in my opinion, he never had, a proper, prolonged time of control because Jay Lethal just tore him apart. All of, the spots of the match involves Jay Lethal doing something, and yeah, Darby Allin was pretty much toast. Until, of course, Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt show up and fuck things up for Jay. But yeah, this match, I can compare it, if you're a Noah fan, to Saiki Yoshioka with anyone else versus the team of Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway. Because in Noah, there's this team called Stinger, and their main tag team is Yoshinari Ogawa and Chris Ridgway. And their leader Hayata also wrestles the same way. They bog down matches. They go very, very like work on limb heavy. They just like they don't even work like a tag team. They work like two singles guys who just like try to tear someone's leg off. And then like the matches that they've had with this dude called Saiki Yoshioka, which is pretty much like Darby Allin but smarter and does better strikes. Yeah. He's like this high speed, high flying dude whose finisher is a buzzsaw kick, so the leg is important there. And yeah, they try to like limit his arsenal by working on his leg, and I love those matches. Even if they're slow as fuck, even if like barely anything happens but just selling. And like the selling there is very consistent, and so is here, but Saiki Yoshioka does so with like more intensity. But yeah, it feels like one of those matches. You should go watch it if you're like a person who doesn't like flippy shit. That's the sort of match for you, I think, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's pretty much what this match is, but in a singles setting, with Darby Allin selling the leg constantly, even on offense, but he also sells like other moves very exaggeratedly. Yeah, he like does his dangerous bumps after some very basic moves. And it's kind of unnecessary, but yeah. This match was like unfortunate to follow up the MJF match, but I mean, at the start it didn't have much of the crowd, but as we got to the end, as we got to like the story part, we got the cheers, we got the reaction that Jay Lethal face turn should have. Like, especially by the end. The crowd was into it. I was into it. This is the sort of match that Dynamite sorely needs. So yeah, the finish of this match is after Jay Lethal dominates like all of the match. This was his. But when he gets in trouble for just a little, Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt show up. He tries to do the babyface thing by like waving them off, telling them to go away. But this takes his attention too much away from the match. And then Darby Allin just like does a last supper, like this sort of pin that Darby does. The one he did to Malachi Black at All Out. And yeah, he did that. He got the win. Jay Lethal is disappointed as fuck. And Darby tries to shake his hand. And after a confrontation with Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt, I think all of us know where this is going. Lethal's gonna put over Satnam Singh. But yeah, Jay shakes Darby's hand and then leaves with Dutt and Singh. So yeah, this was a surprisingly good match. I thought this was gonna like be phoned in and stuff, but no, it was really good. It like fit right where it should have. And yeah, it told really good story. It's something we don't get in AEW a lot, like this sort of like very cell heavy, very grounded sort of match, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, spots of the match, there are only two. Number 2 is this like sort of pin exchange that goes on for a while and is better than just like rolling around, like the rolling around thing that MJF and Wheeler did. This one's a lot more creative. And as for the number 1 spot of the match, it is the Avalanche Dragon Screw. Like, nothing else beats this. This is the top move of the match, bar none. So yeah, I'm gonna rank this as TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard match. Yeah, that's like as high as I'm gonna go. So after this is a promo by the Embassy, by their leader, who I don't know, I'm sorry, but Brian Cage also cuts a promo, and I don't understand how people can say that Brian Cage is bad at promos, because he cut a really good one here. The voice really suits like his body. It's like gruff, but also not too deep. It sounds cooler than it does terrifying. And yeah, the content of what he says is good too. Their leader showed some good charisma. Their team is a bit weird though. It's a bit silly what they do here. But it's alright. We finally get the embassy in AEW after so many months from Death Before Dishonor. So yeah, alright segment. Let's move on to the Cage versus Wardlow match. Okay, so the guy's name is Prince Nana, and he spent his family fortune in order to create a wrestling stable. Okay, you could have founded a wrestling company, but yeah, the faction idea is alright. The gimmick is okay. He bought them from Tully Blanchard, but alright, let's go with that. But yeah, this match can be characterized as big man do little man things. Brian Cage and Wardlow do like a lot of cruiserweight moves. Some Hurricane Ranas, a 619, and also a Whisper to the Wind. That's gonna piss some people off. But we have this prolonged part in the middle where they do a lot of punches, a lot of power moves. But I don't know if you would call like a suplex a power move. It's more technical. But yeah, I like how Wardlow gets Cage in a German suplex. Because Brian Cage, after getting his ass kicked, swings wildly. His back faces Wardlow and then Wardlow goes for a German suplex. Actually, I think it was 3. And then the final part of the match was Wardlow trying to do his signature move. And then Cage just like counters. He does an F5 at one point, and commentators don't mention the name. They just buried the F5. It's reduced to like a normal grapple move here. But yeah, we get Brian Cage trying to mock Wardlow's power bombs. We get a series of counters that finally leads to like the Wardlow headbutt. I like how they get into it here. It takes 2 to like stagger Brian Cage. The first one sends him back, but then he goes for like a discus clothesline. But Wardlow hits a second. He hits his like wind up lariat and goes for 4 power bombs. He does like a quadruple powerbomb symphony for the win. 1, 2, 3. Problem with the finish. I think this feud should have been prolonged, since we have like a faction feud that goes after. Yeah, we get an encounter with the Embassy against Warjo and FTR. It's pretty one-sided on paper, but it would have been better if we didn't have the conclusion here. This should have ended in a DQ because there are so many factors that could have contributed to that. And I think it's a missed opportunity to build a longer feud by Tony Khan. I think this should have definitely been a match for Full Gear. Or like the rematch of this at Full Gear. But yeah, Wardlow beats Brian Cage. It sort of takes the wind out of his sails for his return. And I don't like it. Especially because after the Embassy show up, they beat Wardlow's ass. You literally could have had this finish the match. Wardlow could have won by DQ. But yeah, instead we have pretty much the leader of the faction get pinned. And yeah, so Gates of Agony show up, they kick Wardlow's ass. Samoa Joe makes the save, but the Embassy manages to kick his ass. And then FTR show up and scare everyone off. And I don't like that they're scared off by FTR. They're like considerably smaller dudes, and there's just 2 of them. There's 3 Embassy members in the ring. But yeah, Samoa Joe finally gets back up. The faces stand tall, and I guess we get this feud, which is pretty interesting, but I don't know, man. I mean, you have to build Brian Cage back. There needs to be a 1v1 for the TNT Championship, and not just like finish it up with like a multi-man faction feud on the pay-per-view, just like you did last time with... Who was that again? Yeah, Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal against like Wardlow and FTR. We can't have one of those again. Have it end with Brian Cage taking the belt off of Wardlow. Or like just be more competitive. Take Wardlow to his limit. Have the match end in like a knockout or something. Or a feint. Like that's what it takes to take out the big dude. But yeah, this match was pretty good. It's better than the last one, but not as good as the first one. This also gets a "This is awesome" chant, but honestly, it's just because 2 big dudes are in the ring. You don't need to try much if you're like this big. So yeah, top 3 spots of the match. Number 3 is the suplex that Brian Cage does while stepping on the rope. I think this is called like a deadlift vertical suplex. It's from the apron to the inside of the ring, and it certainly was the high spot. This got the loudest pop, but it's really not that impressive. There are 2 other spots that are more impressive than this, that should have gotten louder pops. Number 2 is like the flexing, like the bicep curl flexing fall away slam by Brian Cage. He flings Wardlow effortlessly over his head to the back. I was picking between this, the suplex, and the 619 counter, but the 619 counter is just like an honorable mention because it ends with like a falling slam, like the world's strongest slam, which isn't very impressive. And yeah, the number 1 spot of the match is how we get to the finish. So like we have like 2 Wardlow headbutts. The first sends Brian Cage back. The second is as Cage is going for a discus lariat, Wardlow hits it. It staggers Cage. He hits this wind-up lariat, and then he goes for a symphony for the win. And yeah, this was like better than any of the high spots here. So yeah, this match is like a TV main event, pay-per-view undercard match. We have a lot of missed opportunities for this one. You could have withheld the conclusion of the feud till after the feud. Till after like a factional feud. Have like Brian Cage win some matches or something. Like have them beat the faction of Wardlow and FTR before you have the blow-off title match. Not started off like this. Because now what the hell are you building up to? For tag titles? For bragging rights and shit? Yeah, no, I don't like the finish, but the match was really good. So after this is a promo by Britt Baker basically telling us that Saraya, Page, is not cleared to wrestle in AEW. And I don't know if this is like true, but if it is, why the fuck bring Saraya in anyway? If she is like hit or miss at promos, if you're not even gonna let her wrestle, why bring her in the company anyway? But yeah, it does sound like she's gonna eventually be cleared. She's gonna eventually have a match with Britt. She's probably gonna win, and I'm gonna get pissed off at that. But yeah, we'll see how this progresses. Saraya will probably wrestle, but if she isn't able to, again, why even bring her in the first place? You have like Jamie Hayter right there, who is like on the verge of being like the top star. Everyone fucking loves her. She's a great wrestler, and she uses a rainmaker. And she's one of the few women who the fans actually cheer for without even doing anything. But yeah. Okay, so update from All Elite Wrestling discussion. According to the Wrestling Observer, Saraya has been officially cleared by Dr. Michael Sampson. So I guess Saraya is cleared to wrestle. This promo did its job, and Saraya will probably win. But come on, Athena's right there. Athena and Jamie Hayter are right there. Plus Serena Deeb. They're so much better. Go push them. Make them the champions. Or Hikaru Shida, who's like proven champion, proven over, a great in-ring entertainer. But yeah, come on. If Saraya doesn't pan out, Hikaru Shida, AEW champion. Or Jamie Hayter. So yeah, speaking of Jamie Hayter, we get the match. Penelope Ford, Serena Deeb, Jamie Hayter, accompanied by Britt Baker and I guess Kip Sabian as well, versus Willow Nightingale, Athena, and Toni Storm, accompanied by Saraya. So this match is everything that I said they should do. Because fuck, they go for a show stealer. It's a 6-man tag team match, but they start it hot right away. They don't do technical, they don't do rest holds. They start off with Penelope Ford and Athena doing flippy shit. With no definitive winner, this gets the crowd in the match and gets pretty loud pops. And this sets the tone for the rest of the match. Because every time someone like more or like somewhat more popular gets tagged in, we get some chants. And the one I appreciated the most was Serena Deeb. Because holy shit, does she deserve to be a champion or something. turn this woman babyface, and it will work. But the loudest reaction was for Jamie Hayter. The crowd was pretty much for both sides. The faces get less reactions, but Jamie Hayter's on the other side, so what did you expect? But yeah, they go for some nice spots, some nice fun spots. They keep like a moderate to fast pace, and they don't do rest holds. Heels cut the ring in half, but it doesn't last a long time. They go back to the action right away, as they should, because that's what the women's matches in AEW have been lacking. The speed. But yeah, since there is like 6 women in this match, I'm gonna rank them according to how impressed I am with them, relative to the amount of time that they were featured. So yeah, for me, I was least impressed with Toni Storm. She did some pretty basic shit. She looked pretty strong, but she was in there for a long time and she didn't do anything much spectacular except the running hip attack on the side. Next is Jamie Hayter. I assume the logic here is to just use Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter's overness to have people tune into the match while the other 4 less popular wrestlers do all the work. And yeah, it worked. Jamie Hayter did some stuff, like not all of her cool stuff. She did her backbreaker, and that was pretty much what I can remember, and like a lot of cutting the ring in half. So not very impressive here. Or she wasn't allowed to be as impressive as she should be. And next, this is hard. This is like the top 4 performers of the match. Next is Athena. Athena did only her code breaker, her like modified code breaker that gets loud pops all the time. Again, she like spent the shortest time as the legal woman. She did like do some stuff in the ring, but she was like the least featured out of everyone and wasn't allowed to shine, but I was impressed with what she did with the little time she had. That fucking code breaker always does it for me, and for the fans as well. I think it's her husband's move. And yeah, really good move. And like the flips she did at the start really got the crowd into the match. So top 3. Number 3 is Penelope Ford. She managed to get most of her stuff in. She does one of the spots of the match. And after disappearing for a long time with Kip Sabian, she showed us in this match that she still has it. That she is still capable of being the Penelope Ford that we once knew way before AEW started. But yeah, the ring gear for me does not work. Yeah, I mean, it does not suit Penelope Ford. Her with jeans was so much better. But yeah, she was impressive here. Nice heel work and nice moveset. Especially that spot in the match that I'm going to talk about later. And then number 2 best performer of the match is Serena Deeb. I felt her presence the most. She got over with the crowd the most. And she got a substantial amount of her stuff in. She did the Deeb technical wrestling. Her selling was a bit off, but yeah, I really like Serena Deeb's like in-ring charisma, even if she doesn't have much out of the ring. And I like her moveset. And yeah, she does one of the spots of the match as well. And then as for the best performer is the person who got the pin, and it's Willow Nightingale. This girl just like gets tagged in. She comes in like a house of fire, beats the shit out of Jamie, has fucking charisma for days, and she just like destroys the shit out of people. She does like an awesome pounce, which in this match she does to like Serena Deeb, who like does like, what do you call that? Like a spin, a twirl to the pounce itself. This looked really good, and I really think should be her finisher. It just gets so much of a pop, more than her actual finisher. She just has it. Facial expressions and all, plus the selling, plus the moveset. I fucking love Willow Nightingale. And the finish of the match is Penelope Ford tries to do her like flip, her like, what do you call this? This like cheerleader routine, somersaults thing. But Willow Nightingale goes for the dropkick. She dropkicks her in her abdomen, and then she goes for her sit-down powerbomb for the win. So yeah, really good match. TV main event pay-per-view undercard match. And it's just about where Wardlow versus Brian Cage is. You know what? It's better than that because it has a better finish. Yeah, they don't fuck this up. So yeah, for the top 3 spots of the match, number 3 is Serena Deeb's Chancery suplex, while Jamie Hayter does a suplex right beside her. This move is just awesome, and it makes Serena Deeb look really strong, being able to take 2 opponents at the same time. For number 2, it's the Pounce by Willow Nightingale. This should be her finisher. This is the first one I saw where her opponent does a twirl before she hits it. And yeah, her opponents so far have sold this well. I want to see her do this to Jade Cargill. Or hell, even like win the title from her. She's better than Jade Cargill right now, but Jade's getting better. Shit, why do I keep bringing Jade in this? Yeah, Jade's really good at this point compared to before, but she's not in the same league with these women yet. I feel like I have to say that because people are overhyping her too much and it's making other people hate her, which is unfair. But yeah, as for the number 1 spot, it's when Penelope Ford does her like Bray Wyatt reverse spider thing to counter Willow Nightingale's clothesline. She does this and then follows it up with a cutter from that position. Fucking sick move. Penelope Ford here was awesome as well. She might move into top 2 performer, but I don't know. No. Serena Deeb's still number 2. So yeah, a really good match. I really love this fucking thing. This show is already better than last week's by so much, and it reflects in the ratings, as well as the enjoyment I have while reviewing this. So after the match, I would have been fine if it just ended here. If we just had like a separate segment for the revelation of Saraya's true condition, but we get it here right away. Britt and her touch, she throws Britt out, she super kicks a kneeling rebel, and then she stands tall in the ring without the baby faces. This doesn't exactly take away the heat from the baby faces winning, from the person who got the pin, but it does from the champion herself, Toni Storm. Saraya is being presented more as a main character than the fucking champion, which is dumb. But yeah, nice to know that Saraya can wrestle. We'll see where this goes. And if you don't want to portray Toni Storm as like the biggest deal of the company, the biggest deal of the division, just don't make her champion. For fuck's sake. Or like at least have all 4 women stand tall in the ring. It's not that hard. Okay, so after this is a small backstage segment with La Faccion Ingobernable without the leader because he was sent home. God damn it. I was so looking forward to the progression of La Faccion. I wanted to see how Cody Vance progresses with La Faccion. But instead, it gets called off maybe for another week, maybe forever. I don't know, but it would have been the feud to like at least give a little life to La Faccion. And they just had to fuck it up. This was your chance, Andrade. And instead of like finally using your chance to get on TV, to be more consistently featured, you had to like fucking lower yourself to this level where you're actually trying to get fired. That's so dumb. You signed the contract. And even if Triple H likes you, if you keep acting like this, it won't end up well. Like anywhere except maybe Mexico. But yeah, compromised storyline. But shit still goes on. So Jose has this new gimmick where he shows replays of stuff that happened before. He's the only guy who does this. But yeah, he points out that Private Party aren't doing their job, and Rush tells them to do the right thing, to help him win. You know what, Rush and Andrade, if he's still in the faction, there's another team called the Butcher and the Blade who are more fucking reliable than Private Party. Like clearly, Private Party have defected. They're with Matt Hardy again. But La Faccion just doesn't get it. I hate it. Just like have the match, beat him, and then have them reunite with Matt Hardy already. So yeah, love Jose's new gimmick, but I don't like how Private Party are being broken up from La Faccion. So yeah, after this is the National Scissoring Day celebration by the Acclaimed. And Max Caster opens it up with an alright rap. It's not the best. He takes shots at politicians because they're in Washington, D.C., but I can't relate. But they get Pretty loud pops. The crowd make noise like they're twice their size. So this segment got the loudest pops of the entire night. There was 100% crowd participation. We had some awesome fucking signs like a South Park sign, a Drake meme sign, a scissoring section. It's amazing at what the Acclaimed are doing right now. And they're currently the most over thing in AEW. And they might not be at the Usos level yet, at like inner ring, but charisma-wise, on the mic, both of them are so fucking good. This is unprecedented. How like a jobber heel team, became like this fucking over with like 100% crowd participation just because of like sexual joke that is now a symbol of unity based on this promo. They announce that their shirt is the most best-selling in the entire company. They do a nice play with words of like the company's name. It's now Acclaimed every Wednesday. They put over how they were trending. They explain the whole handshake. They bury Swerve and Keith, who they're still in a feud with, which I like. I like that we're getting a rubber match. And then Daddy Ass does a Rock impression. He does like a Rock catchphrase. He brings out some golden scissors from City Hall because apparently he's a big deal, which drives the crowd insane. And they make a lot of like scissoring jokes as well, of course. Why the fuck not? But then we get a bit more serious with Max Caster, the homeboy, telling us a story about his history with the city, that his dad was a former Washington football team player. Shit, that name is just awesome. They're the football team. It's not a corny fucking name or a racial slur. And then we get to, I think, the best part of this entire segment. Caster talks about division in America, but he doesn't pick a side. He encourages everyone to scissor. He basically promotes like unity. The Acclaimed are gonna fix America, apparently, and they do like a bipartisan red-blue scissor. Honestly, how the fuck do you hate this? I wish I had this in my fucking country. This is the perfect fucking way you mix politics into wrestling. Like 100%. A great way to bring everyone together while being entertained as well. But my biggest complaint about this is that they don't do the scissor. They don't fix America. Swerve has to fucking interfere and be bitchy about losing the titles. I mean, he has a point. Billy Gunn did cheat. So then Swerve challenges him to a match next week. Swerve buries this whole segment. It's kind of a downer, but it moves the feud on. But what I like is that fucking long-term storytelling. Mark fucking Sterling shows up. A heel who hates Swerve Strickland, who's another heel. The dude who tried to like get everyone to sign a petition to get rid of Swerve Strickland. Fucking amazing. One of the funniest dudes in the entire company joins the funniest tag team in a segment. This fucking comes out of nowhere and is so consistent with his character being annoying, showing up at the wrong time, and still hating Swerve Strickland. I fucking love this. This was the cherry on top. And again, to add to this, they do the Unity Scissor, and now it's just perfect. This segment is perfect. This is the best AEW segment I've ever watched ever. The most feel-good. It relates to real life, like the American political situation and shit, without picking a side. They get the loudest pops. They build to a feud. They do long-term storytelling by bringing back Mark Sterling, which is fucking genius. God, this is better than Omega and Page. This is better than Punk and MJF. This is the best segment in AEW history. It's pretty much their rock show. So yeah, best segment of the night and best segment of AEW ever. Acclaimed. I hope they never leave. I hope they're champs forever. They're saving America, but not the AEW locker room. Sadly. What a shit show, but that's what we have to deal with. So yeah, after this is a short promo. It's like a hype-up promo video package thing about the match replacement for 10 versus Andrade. And I honestly thought that 10 was going to lose. He was going to unmask. He was going to join, like, Ingobernable. And they were going to, like, piss all over Brody Lee's anniversary. The perfect heel move. But now I think they're gonna beat Death Triangle, and it's sad. Death Triangle didn't even defend that title once. What is this, Pro Wrestling Noah? Where nobody gets a successful defense? So yeah, Death Triangle better not lose. I'll be more favorable to 10 turning on the Dark Order somehow. But from what it's looking like, Dark Order gonna take the belts. Fucking terrible decision, but I'm gonna watch Rampage anyway. As well as Battle of the Belts. 2 hours again, tomorrow. But I'm gonna be making 2 reviews. One for Rampage and then one for Battle of the Belts. So more shit to enjoy, so yeah. And after this is a short interview confrontation between the teams of, like, who's this again? Madison Rain and Sky Blue against Anna Jay and Tay Conchi, Tay Mello from JAS. So this was a pretty on-the-nose, non-kayfabe promo, since Sky Blue insults the wrestling capabilities of Tay and Anna, but they insult her like charisma, and I don't like that Sky Blue brings up charisma, as if that is a goal in kayfabe. Your goal is to win matches. This was almost gonna be like a Dante Martin going like, I appreciate your confidence in my potential, but and on Rampage, I will defeat you. Yeah, it almost felt like that, but she had a zinger in there that just like floored the crowd. It got a good reaction when she said that she should work on her charisma, but the other 2 women should work on their wrestling. And this was pretty fire, but Madison and her are probably gonna lose. And so the match is set for Rampage, and then Madison closes it out by doing a Daddy Magic impression to close out the segment. This was alright. It's not bad. It's like slightly above average. If it wasn't for the zinger as well as the Daddy Magic impression, this would have been bad. Like, not Dynamite worthy. But because of those things, it is, and it's pretty good. Okay, so after this is my most anticipated match of the night. It's Hangman Page versus Roosh. So they started this with a moderately fast pace. A brawl. They have a little miscommunication, and it's pretty apparent. It leads to like a toss to the outside, and then like the Roosh taunt, the Ingobernable taunt. It doesn't get as loud reaction because it happens pretty slow, but it's alright. Then the match slows down for the commercial break. Then we get a strike battle where Roosh clearly overpowers Page. I did not expect this. Roosh's chops just sound louder. Page cannot take Roosh on 1v1 in a strike fight. Roosh gains control, but it's apparent what his flaw is. He showboats a lot. He is physically stronger than Page, but his tendency to showboat gives Page back control. And I like that this is the story of the match. They pace this like a main event, so a gradual progression of like bigger moves. But here it's more of a brawl, and I don't like brawls too much. So thankfully things reach a next gear after a powerbomb counter on the turnbuckle. We have a nice strike combo by Roosh after he counters a buckshot lariat, and then he delivers his straight jacket piledriver, albeit not very well, since he doesn't raise Hangman high enough and he has to like fall backwards. This could have been better. But the ending, I think, is too sudden, and it's not built up to it well. It comes out of nowhere. So after Roosh hits his piledriver, Hangman kicks out, and then Roosh goes for the bull's horns, but Hangman pops up, lariats him, and goes straight for a buckshot, and he wins 1-2-3. I'm so disappointed in this match. It's too short. Nothing much exciting happens. Their encounter in the Battle Royal is much better. And yeah, they don't go for anything spectacular. It's definitely not a banger. And it has to be, you know what? Wait, let me rank this properly. It ranks below the Jay Lethal versus Darby match. You made Roosh look like a chump, losing in 9 minutes. The match doesn't get enough time. They don't go for any like awesome moves. They don't tell much of a story. It's just a match to get Page to Mox. And yeah, disappointing. I can't believe I'm giving an Adam Page match a score of like, what am I gonna give this? It's like TV undercard only. Son of a bitch. This is the worst match of the card so far. Fuck this shit. I was expecting so much more. As for spots of the match, I'm too disappointed to give this anything. So yeah. And then after this, we get like a one-sided Jon Moxley promo on Adam Page. It's him telling Page he respects him, but I'm gonna kick your ass in a match. Very basic stuff, but Jon Moxley makes it sound very, very serious and important. Adam Page gets a few words off. He tells Mox that since Mox said that he's been waiting a long time to finally face Hangman Page, and since Mox just leaves, he like tries to leave, Page picks up the mic and then goads him for a fight then and there. And then we get a better promo when Mox like tells him to watch his mouth because he already caused some shit, which is like kind of a shoot and kind of a shoot on the Sammy situation as well. So yeah, Mox threatens him with destruction and then finally leaves the ring. Okay, so this one here, nice promo by Mox, but this could have been better. This could have been a back and forth. Page could have like did a workers' rights thing. That would have been like a cool callback. But yeah, I mean, I'm already excited for this match. The match against Rush definitely took heat off the feud. This promo here also took heat off the feud, but Page is still my favorite wrestler, and it's gonna be an awesome match with him against Mox either way. But yeah, I hope they don't disappoint. It's like hit and miss with Moxley, depending on who's in the ring with him. So fingers crossed, we'll see on Dynamite. So after this is a quick interview of Willow Nightingale after her victory. She challenges Jade Cargill, but she does this in a very babyface and very like actually well acted sort of way. This like transcends wrestling acting. She has her facial expressions down, she has the voice down, put the belt on her or something. And so she challenges Jade, but Jade and her baddies, her bitches, show up and muddle things up. They make noises. I didn't understand them at first, but then thankfully only Jade talks. Her citing that she's beaten Willow twice already is alright, but like Willow's promo here is on another level. It's so well acted, it's so like well inflected. Oh my god. Come on, put the belt on Willow Nightingale. Third time's the charm. Have Jade do something else. And so yeah, Willow closes the promo with an awesome line. What if you're 38-1 and I'm the one? Fucking great promo by Willow Nightingale. Shoots her up the female rankings. Oh my fucking god, this gold. Good thing they signed her. Great fucking move. And I hope she wins, but she probably isn't, which is sad. Imagine that pop she'll get when she finally wins. And the amount of merch she'll move just because of that personality. Like, she could literally be anywhere else. She has the acting chops as well as the fucking physical gifts. The wrestling. So yeah, great segment. Now we move on to Luchasaurus versus Fuego, which is a squash match. Luchasaurus tears Fuego apart, of course. It's a jobber match, but this jobber here gets a name. But yeah, the important part is what happens after. So Luchasaurus tries to kill Fuego, but then Jungle Boy shows up. He drives Luchasaurus off, and then he cuts his best promo ever. Talk about acting chops. This guy, it's in the genes. This tragic betrayal storyline. The content is alright. The I'll break you piece by piece is not one of my favorite lines, but the way he delivers everything, from the look at me here part to the you were my best friend, that could be on a shirt or on a sign. This was so fucking intense, and this dude became another person. Great promo by Jungle Boy. He's getting there. Not MJF level, but he's like turning out to be like the second most successful pillar. So MJF, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara so far. But Jungle Boy's going up to number 2. Sammy Guevara used to be number 2, but he's dropped down significantly. So sad. it's time for a new set of pillars. So that's Wheeler, that's Garcia, Takeshita. I can totally see Takeshita as a pillar, and maybe Dante Martin as well. But yeah, who knows for now. But Christian, again, insults the town. It's not as savage as when he's at his best. He still delivers these lines nicely, but he challenges Jungle Boy on his home turf in Canada against Luchasaurus. Okay, but yeah, I mean, Jungle Boy's probably gonna win. Or what would be more interesting is that Jungle Boy loses. He somehow brings in Marco Stunt, and then he beats Luchasaurus in the second match, and then moves on against Christian at Full Gear. But who knows? Jungle Boy might just beat Luchasaurus right away, which would be the wrong choice. But yeah, great segment, emotional segment, might be the most emotional of the entire night. But yeah, nothing beats the Acclaimed. Everyone loves the Acclaimed, and that's still the best segment. So after this, AEW does this every week, poorly placed, like promo segment, promo video package, whatever, poorly everything. I don't like this. This is the worst segment of the night. I'm just gonna skip over it because nothing interesting happens. It just builds to Pac and Trent. But yeah. So for Rampage, we have the Trios Championship between the Dark Order against Death Triangle. We have the match between, who's that again? Tay Mello and Anna Jay versus Madison Rayne and Sky Blue. This will probably be the worst match of the show, but who knows? Anything can happen. And then we have Varsity Blondes against Tony Nese and Josh Woods. I'm going with Nese and Woods here. Woods is going to take the pin. And then next is, who else? Yeah, for that women's match, I think JAS are going to win, like 100%. As for the trios titles, I want the Death Triangle to win, but Dark Order will probably win. So yeah, and then the main event for the main event for Rampage is Wheeler Yuta, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli against Private Party and Rouge. And again, why use Private Party? They don't even like you guys anymore. Andrade's not even in the team. So why use them? They're untrustworthy. They're gonna cost you the match. And plus, this is this is a random match. If Hangman Page was here, it would be alright. But just like BCC against Ingobernable, it's like Rouge already lost. And Andrade's probably not going to be there. So Rouge is going to be the new leader if Andrade's not going to show up. So why even have this? Terrible decision. I mean, at least we're going to see Rouge twice, so alright. We also see Wheeler Yuta twice in a week, so yeah. I have my doubts about this. And then as for Battle of the Belts, we have Willow Nightingale, one of my new favorite wrestlers. She can join the faction with Yukio Naya, Kazuyuki Fujita, and that other dude who's like one of my boys. But Willow Nightingale joins that faction. They're now unstoppable. Okay, so for this one, Jade's probably gonna win, but a Willow Nightingale win would be awesome. It would be cool if it happened in a pay-per-view, but this is kind of like a pay-per-view, and Willow Nightingale is not that big of a name. So I think you can have it on TV. And then there's Pac versus Trent. I don't know what to expect from this. I don't even know if they'll go for show stealer. This match depends on, basically how they're feeling that day. This is my projected worst match of the night, but who knows? And it's like a guaranteed Pac win, so yeah, that's minus to my interest. And as for the match I'm looking forward to the most, for Battle of the Belts, I was expecting a championship match between Page and Mox, but it's not here. So yeah, FTR against Gates of Agony. I think this is it. This is the best opportunity to drop the belts, or maybe wait for the TV show, but yeah. Win or lose either one of these teams, no one's gonna look bad because you're facing FTR, and yeah, those guys are untouchable. They're probably gonna hold all 4 titles, but yeah, I mean, let's just have fun with the match because I love Gates of Agony so much. from the last time they wrestled. So, yeah, let's get to the main event. There's been enough talk. Let's get to the... No, I can't say that. It's not Rampage. Okay, so this match is between the team of Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. So, this match was affected by the shit that went down. You have a whole audience here that follows the backstage news, the dirt sheets and stuff, and they made their feelings known here whenever Sammy was in the ring. This modified how over Garcia and Danielson were. Fans chanted extra loud for them, especially when they were kicking Sammy's ass. Pace was moderate to fast. There were balls to the wall, sort of like supporting moves, things that would happen outside as the main action is happening inside, like Danielson preventing an interference, or Danielson taking everyone out in very quick succession. There were also storytelling beats between Garcia and Jericho, like especially. And for me, the match was at its best when Daniel Garcia was in the ring, especially against Sammy, because it's the next logical step. Garcia should go through all of the members of JAS before getting Chris Jericho. And so yeah, Guevara and Garcia were like the best combination in the ring, with added overness for Garcia because people hate Sammy right now. But I don't like the finish. Like, the start of the finish was okay. I like that Jericho takes Danielson out by putting him through a table, but I don't like that Aubrey Edwards does not have peripheral vision. Again, from being the referee who's unfuckwithable, who was like AEW's most protected ref at the start, she could not get distracted. She was like the hardest-assed referee to basically Bryce Remsburg back in the day. Now Bryce Remsburg is the hardest-assed ref who tells people to get back in the ring. And yeah, I don't like this shit. Stop doing these types of finishes. It's shit. And I think Tony Khan should have taken advantage of this situation. Garcia should have won. Garcia should have pinned Sammy. It would have made him like 5 times more over, or like maybe have Chris pin Garcia, which would elevate the feud. Yeah, because on second thought, if Garcia gets put on a feud with Sammy, the crowd are gonna hijack the shit out of that, so maybe a bad idea. So yeah, the finish is Garcia puts on the Dragon Slayer, like his sharpshooter thing, and then he gets hit by Chris Jericho with the Ring of Honor title. Or was it the pure title? I don't know, because they look pretty similar from far away. But yeah, Sammy gets the win. JAS stand tall, and this pisses all of the fans in the internet. So for the top 3 spots of the match, number 3 is this sequence by Danielson, where he takes everyone out. Number 2 is this GTH by Sammy Guevara. I love how this is sold by Garcia. It looks like his neck is being twisted, and it looks extra devastating. And as for the number 1 spot of the match, it's the crossface label lock combination in the middle of the ring. So yeah, this match was really fun. It's TV main event pay-per-view undercard. The dudes here work their ass off, but I don't like the finish. So yeah, the show closes out with this graphic of Daniel Garcia in despair as the JAS hoist up Sammy. This is gonna piss off the internet fans so much more, and then I might even make this the thumbnail. But yeah, this was a really good Dynamite. It was better than I expected from last week's shit show, and I'm looking forward for next week. But I'm pretty disappointed with Rampage. I was looking most forward to 10 versus Andrade, like whoever wins. That was my most anticipated match, believe it or not. But this shit had to happen. And now La Faccion Ingobernable is dead in the water. I'm gonna talk more about Ingobernable in my Rampage review, but I don't know how you replace Andrade. It seems pretty impossible. Unless you bring in Naito, have Bandito join Rush, look for another prominent Mexican wrestler like Tejano. Oh shit, Tejano's gonna be awesome. Or you know what, bring in Wagner Jr. Wagner Jr.'s son, Dr. Wagner's grandchild from Noah. But yeah, I'm gonna talk more about that during my Rampage review. Great Dynamite though, and I can see why it got the ratings that it did. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe for engagement, share if you do not know me, hit that bell notification for future videos, and please, watch my shit.